So, hey, Alexa for Urban News, and I'm currently in Mont-Saint-Grégoire because tonight is the goodbye party for Madame Claire Samson. Madame Claire Samson started to be the deputy of Iberville for the CAQ, Coalition Avenir Québec, that is the party of François Legault. But after giving $100 in donation to the Conservative Party of Quebec, the party of Éric Duhaime, she was put out of the caucus at the National Assembly. Afterwards, she changed the party to become the only deputy permitted to the National Assembly for the Conservative Party. But for the next election, she has decided to be retiring, and so she will not be the next candidate for Iberville for the next election. So tonight it's all about her. So we'll take the opportunity to ask some questions to some of the members of the party of their story with Madame Claire Samson. Let's check it out.
Bonsoir. Bonsoir. Là, je suis un peu émue, mais je pleurerai pas. C'est pas mon genre. Je suis chialeuse, mais je suis pas broyarde. Alors, je vais vous dire une chose. J'avais commencé une petite tradition à mon ancienne CAQ. Quand on avait des caucus précessionnels, j'écrivais des petits poèmes. C'est pas très méchant. Des fois, c'était méchant, mais j'essayais de pas être trop méchant. Alors, je vous ai écrit un petit poème. Alors, je vous remercie tous d'être là. Mais pour moi, ça va finir comme ça. Et si la politique ne m'a pas tué, c'est que je suis éternelle, qui sait?
Well, clearly, the arrival of Claire Samson in the party was a game changer because it was the first member of the Assemblée nationale that joined the Parti conservateur, and it gave us a voice, although fairly short and small because we don't have a lot of time during the question period, but it gives us a presence.
She did more than most members in La CAQ that are not in power. Period. They were not doing anything. Their offices were closed. Just the fact that their offices were closed, what means what were you doing for the last 2 years? Weren't answering calls, emails are not answered. What's your job? At the end of the day, their job is to represent the people. And if they're not willing to do the strict minimum, at that point, I'd agree. It's probably the easiest job.
And also, I would say a legitimacy of having somebody that has been now a member of the Parti conservateur du Québec. If you remember, I mean, the last deputy was probably in the 30s when Duplessis moved to Union Nationale. So it was fairly new that we had an elected deputy at the Assemblée nationale. So it was a game changer. It's a historical moment. We would have liked it to have it through a regular election, but that's a start.
You know, when I got elected a little bit more than a year ago, my first priority was to get an elected member in the National Assembly, to open up the doors of the National Assembly and make sure that we have a voice out there, that I could have press conferences weekly and to be represented and vote on every single bill. So it was a top priority. I've met a few members, and fortunately, the best one of them all that I met was Claire Samson, and fortunately, she said yes, and she became our first representative for the Conservatives in the National Assembly after 86 years of absence for the Conservatives. So it was a big step. And if today it's possible for us to be where we are, it's because Claire Samson was there. She crossed over almost a year ago, day to day, and it was a big step for us. That's why I got invited for the Leaders Debate. That's how we got all the growth in terms of membership, of donors, of volunteers, of people attending events like where we're at currently. So it was a very important step. And also, you never know when you meet someone if it's going to fit or not. And fortunately, it did.
Mm-hmm. And so what you are going to regret when Claire will not be there?
Well, Claire is not going to disappear. I mean, Claire is going to help Anne Casabonne here in Iberville, and she's also going to stay present in the party. She says that she's going to be an advisor for me. She's going to campaign also with us in different constituencies during the election campaign. So she's leaving, but not that much. Like, she's still going to be part of it. But I think that she already told me before she even became a member of the Conservative Party that she already announced that it was her last mandate. So fortunately, now we have Anne that is running in her seat and could keep going for the Conservatives here in Iberville.
Je ne veux pas faire un long discours parce qu'il y a beaucoup de gens qui ont parlé, fait que je vais laisser la parole ce soir à celle qui est la prochaine députée d'Iberville, qui est à partir de ce soir notre candidate officielle pour le Parti conservateur du Québec, Anne Casabonne.
Donc, je suis en ce moment avec Anne Casabonne qui prend le relais, députée d'Iberville pour la prochaine élection. Madame Casabonne, quel est votre moment marquant du passage de Mme Claire Samson au Parti conservateur du Québec?
Bien, c'est elle qui nous a fait entrer dans l'Assemblée nationale. C'est elle qui nous a donné une voix. Non seulement ça, elle a pu permettre à Éric aussi de se prononcer au sein de l'enceinte de l'Assemblée nationale, de faire des conférences de presse. Alors ça aide pour faire voyager des idées. Alors, entre autres, c'est un des moments marquants.
Et là, je pense qu'elle va vous suivre au travers de votre prochaine candidature.
Bien, en fait, on s'est comme dit qu'on allait au moins se rencontrer 2-3 fois par semaine, là, parce que je veux vraiment qu'elle m'imprègne de ses connaissances, de son expérience, de l'expertise du comté qu'elle a fait. Puis pour pouvoir assurer une belle continuité, puis moi-même, je vais faire de mon côté mon propre travail, mon propre porte-à-porte, mais l'expérience que Claire a acquise, je veux en profiter, puis elle est prête à m'en faire profiter. Alors, c'est pour une constance, en tout cas, il n'y a rien de mieux.
Everything started with $100 donation that you gave to the Conservative Party when you were the deputy of Iberville for la CAQ.
Yes.
And after that, they pushed you out of the caucus. Do you regret to give this money to the Conservative Party of Quebec?
Not a second. I think in my heart I did the right thing. I wanted Quebecers. First of all, I could not be with the CAQ anymore, and I didn't identify anymore with them. And I thought that at the time the oppositions were weak given the pandemics, and I thought Quebecers deserved more choices at the next election. I met with Eric a few times before I committed, and I decided that his voices deserve to be heard. He has good proposals and his heart is at the right place, so I jumped in.
And so did you expect that the CAQ will react as that to push you out?
No, I was not surprised. That's the way they are. You're either say what they say or you're out of the game. So once I was expulsed, they gave me, some of my ex-colleagues give me the cold shoulder treatment, but that's their choice. Mm-hmm. Some of them I remain very friendly with, and but it's okay. That's part of life. Mm-hmm. I made my choices and I live with the consequences.
And if I would say, was your hardest moment be part to the Conservative Party of Quebec?
Oh, it's the treatment at the National Assembly. Every time Eric would announce new candidates and different ridings, I'd walk in the National Assembly and the deputy who hold these ridings to look at me like, it's your fault, you know, like this guy is around and the party is getting more popular and they think it's my fault, but it's okay.
Did you expect that you will be the only person in the National Assembly to raise your voice?
I was surprised. Well, I have to say, I took the job as Member of Parliament very seriously. It's very hard for me to accept that you would vote for a law without reading it. Mm-hmm. So that disappointed me a lot because laws we make touch everybody and they last for decades. So it's very important that you do the job correctly and meticulously.
Mm-hmm. So we saw through the past year, you have been the target of mainstream media, of everything that you were doing, your glass of wine or
my
the
cigarette.
How did you feel about this?
Well, first I say to myself, nobody can say I'm hypocritical. I smoke. And when we do our live on Tuesday night, I'm sitting at home. And when I'm sitting at home, I have a glass of red wine and I smoke a cigarette. That's Claire Samson. I'm never drunk, unlike some caricature that they made. But that's who I am, and I'm not going to change now. I'm 67 years old. It's too late.
Mm-hmm. Do you have something that you regret in the last year?
No, unless maybe I could have done it before. Would have given me more time before my retirement to get involved with the party. But I'll stick around and help in any way I can.
What make you actually decided to say I'm leaving the CAC? What make you like change your mind?
I think the disrespect for people. Here in my riding, a lot of érablières, and they decided not to help them, and then they told me, well, what are they going to do? They're not going to run away with the maple trees, after all. So I thought that was méprisant, you know? So I can accept all the pandemic stuff and the consequences, but not to be kind to people is not something I can accept.
What you plan to do after you finish to be in politics?
Well, I'm going to have fun, first of all. 40 some years ago, I learned sign language for the deaf. So I'm going to go back to school, pick up on the language because there are some new words that came up in the past 40 years. So I'm going to get up to speed and do some translation for deaf people.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. D'abord, je vais aux citoyens d'Iberville pour leur confiance depuis 8 ans. Je n'en conserve que de bons sentiments. J'ai adoré mon travail dans le comté. Québec, j'aurais pu m'en passer. C'est vrai que la politique m'a déçu et comme plusieurs d'entre vous, je suis CAQ. Surtout pendant la pandémie, alors qu'on m'a dit « Tant pis pour tes érablières, ils vont quand même pas traverser les frontières. » Moi, je peux bien comprendre la pandémie, mais je n'accepterai jamais le mépris. Bien sûr, on a réglé certaines affaires, comme l'aréna à Saint-Césaire, les réfugiés kurdes à Rougemont, pour qui les citoyens ont été si bons. Monsieur Legault a beau parler de fierté, moi, j'étais pas fière quand les érablières, il a refusé d'aider. J'en ai eu assez des Legault, Guilbeault, Jolin Barrette et Charette, alors je suis passée avec les conservateurs. Mon seul regret, ne pas l'avoir fait plus de bonheur. Mais je l'ai fait de tout mon cœur et pour mes valeurs que j'aime. Alors moi, j'appuie Éric Duhaime. Et je suis honorée que le parti choisisse Anne Casabonne comme députée. Elle va être très bonne. Et comptez sur moi pour la briefer. Elle va le connaître, son comté. Et que dire des organismes communautaires sans qui le gouvernement ne saurait faire? Mais quand il s'agit de leur financement, on n'en parle pas bien longtemps. J'étais sur le point de démissionner quand Éric Duhaime j'ai rencontré. Lui voulait entrer à l'Assemblée nationale, rien de plus normal. Si c'est bon pour PSPP, j'allais donc le laisser entrer. Les Québécois méritent des choix et des oppositions plus fortes que des petits pois. Je pars donc à la retraite avec plein de projets en tête, mais toute ma vie, je me souviendrai avec tendresse des Ibervillois que j'ai fréquentés. Je vous remercie infiniment.
So as you know, the next election will be the 3rd of October, and at Rebel News, we want to cover everything that's related to the next election in Quebec. So if you want to see all our coverage, you can do so at quebecelection.ca. And as well, you can donate generously for our journalism. Thank you.